All right, today we are talking about the Agero formula, and we're doing this for a very, very simple reason. It was requested in my comments and a couple of different emails for me to break it down even more in one clip and make it so that even a fourth grader could understand exactly what I'm talking about. And that's exactly what we're doing. So if you have late payments, collections, foreclosures, repossessions, bankruptcy, judgments, tax liens, or anything else that you could possibly have on there, like short sales or whatever, then this simple formula can be used to potentially remove that account. And I say potentially because in this industry, there's nothing that's guaranteed. And if anybody tells you otherwise when it comes to forcing the bureaus or the creditors, the collectors to do anything, then it's 300% BS. I call BS. All right. So the reason that we're doing this right now is because I have a couple of people who wanted to purchase one of my books that breaks this down and gives a bunch of examples, but they didn't understand what it was to begin with. All right. So this is for you. All right. So we have the Agero formula, right? It's really simple. A-J-E-R-O, Agero. Okay. And this is a term that I coined because it tells you exactly how to dispute, right? So when you're looking at your credit report, you go and you break down your credit report, and that's my puppy playing with something down there. So basically, all you're going to do is pull your credit report, you're going to look at your account, and you're going to determine why the account should be removed, right? So we're looking at things like the balance, the date last active, the date last paid, the notice of dispute, or the lack of notice of dispute, the failure to change the date last reported, so on and so forth, right? And then everything that you could possibly have down in the payment history at the bottom of your account, okay? So once we determine what it is that's going to give us the best possible chance to remove that account, we're going to write our dispute reason. And that's when we're using the Agero formula, all right? So I made this really, really, really simple, all right? We have action such as delete or remove or even update, anything that's going to tell them the action, what you want for them to do with the account, right? If you are attempting to remove late payments, you're going to say update or remove. If you're trying to get rid of the account, you're going to say delete or remove, okay? Delete this account for inaccuracy, remove this account for inaccuracy, blah, 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 because blah, 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 all right? And then we have our justifier, which is because. I'm not gonna go into a long story about why we're using because, but it's really, really simple. When you explain the reason why you want something to happen, 9 times out of 10, it's going to make it significantly easier to get what it is that you're asking for, such as trying to cut in line, right? My kids are out in the car with my husband and they're driving them and saying, can I just cut in front of you? I only have one thing, right? If you don't put the because in there and explain that your husband's out in the car with the 2 kids, then they're just going to say no. Like, screw your one item, dude. Like, you got to wait in line, right? I wait in line, you wait in line. Okay, so this follows that same premise. Tell them why, because when we support our arguments with facts, that's the only way that you are going to be able to remove these things from your credit report. If you just say delete this account, why? Why are we going to do that? You have to have this information to support your claim, your argument, okay? And of course, we're using the FCRA, the FDCPA, the FCBA, all of these things to support with a law, but we're not saying pursuant to blah, 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 unless there is a violation. We just know that it exists, and that is why we know that this can work, right? All right, so now we need to tell them the element. What element in this account is inaccurate? The date last active, the balance, the past due, the notice of dispute, the date last reported, so on and so forth, right? And then we have our reason. What's your reason? Why is the date last active? Why is the balance? Why is the past due inaccurate? This is where you're going to go and look at the account and extract those facts and plug them into your dispute reason, such as these 3 different dates. TransUnion shows this, Equifax shows this. You know what I mean? So if you don't put those facts in there, then you have a very high chance that your dispute reason is going to fail, okay? And then our outcome. All right, so the outcome is generally used for disputing a late payment, right? Remove this late payment and update to paid on time, never late, right? So this is generally for a new status, okay? So now all we're doing is taking the facts from the report, plugging them into the dispute reason or into the formula, and outputs our dispute reason. We're just putting the whole thing together. right? I mean, this is really simple. It's the same as learning algebra or calculus or simple math. You have a formula, you plug the numbers in, and you're going to get the right answer. This is no different, okay? So when we put our entire dispute reason together, our action is delete this charge off for inaccuracy. The justifier is because the element is date last reported, shows, and then we have the facts, which is the reason, date on TransUnion, date on Equifax, and date on Experian. You don't have to say and do anything else. You already told them, delete that count, right? So the entire thing goes, delete this charge off for inaccuracy because the date last paid shows date on TransUnion, date on Equifax, date on Experian. It is really as simple as that. I'm telling you, I use this because it works. If it didn't work, I wouldn't show it to you because it's the same thing that I'm using for my clients and they're getting results, right? Obviously, the same thing doesn't work for all people, right? But we're not using the same thing. We're using a formula that has been proven to work year after year, deletion after deletion after deletion after deletion. And I can't tell you about what works for other people. I can only tell you and show you and prove to you and teach you about what works for me and my clients, okay? So in 2020, we had 20,000 deletions, right? It was significantly less prior to that. 2019, I think it was only like 8,000. 2021, there were 23,000 deletions. Obviously, we don't have the numbers for 2022 yet. That is going to, I'm going to give you those numbers January 1st, okay? Well, technically 2 weeks into January because that's when I will have updated all of the December files, all right? So anyways, does this work? Yes. Can it work for you? Yes. Can it work on collections? Yes. Can it work on debt by collections? Yes. Can it work on bankruptcy? Yes. Can it work on late payments? Yes. How can you take a bankruptcy and plug the information in? Well, if you look at your bankruptcy and it shows 3 different court names, you're going to say, delete this bankruptcy for inaccuracy because the court name does not show or shows this, this, and this, and the city and state are required to report in the bankruptcy court name, right? You can't just have it say federal. You can't just have it say U.S. Bankruptcy Court. You can't just have it say, USBKRPTCT. No, dude, you have to have it report a specific way. And this is why it is so important to understand and know and learn how an account should be reported. Right? Because if you don't know, how are you going to know that, the date last active is supposed to report like this? How would you know that the date last paid is more important than these other things, like, down on the hierarchy? This is why I have 800 videos. This is why I've been doing this for 8 years. It's because I know these things. I practice, I teach them, I show you, I prove it, and it works. So hopefully this made sense, this easy, simple breakdown, and you should be able to utilize this for yourself or for your clients. And when you do get the results, come back to my video and leave me a comment letting me know what your results were, what your experience was, and if this is something you just don't want to deal with, because yeah, it's a lot. There's no such thing as just sending out a letter that was already submitted 1.5 million times, dude. There's 68 million people. It's not that simple, okay? I have literally people who can't get apartments and houses and vehicles and put food on the table for their children, and then over here you have people saying, oh my God, it's so easy, just send out this one letter. No, dude. No. Go tell that to the 68 million people. Go tell that to the military who call me on a satellite phone and, have more important things to worry about. I don't know, like being alive, staying alive, fighting for their country than they do, having to fix their credit. Wouldn't it be given to them and law enforcement and stuff and to the actual government prior to the regular consumer? Yeah, and you're not just going to wake up one day and find the answer to literally everything that you could possibly need when it comes to finances right here on YouTube. I mean, just go figure, right? So no, invest in yourself. Take that time to stick it out and understand that, like, dude, out of 1,000 people, you put 1,000 people in a room, there's only going to be 2 of those people who stick it out and actually get the results that they're supposed to because they understand the system, they understand the process, okay? Everybody else is going to do 60 days here, 4 days here, 4 months there, 6 months there, and then saying, why am I not getting results? You're not getting results because you're not implementing the process. You're not getting results because you're not remaining persistent. You're not getting results because you don't understand that this takes time. Because if it didn't, dude, we wouldn't even have the ability to do this, right? And this would be weaponized, right? So before my puppy knocks over my camera over here, I'm going to get going. I hope you have a wonderful day, a prosperous, successful week, and I will see you later.